I'm Nichole.
And I'm Christy. And we're the Clarity Girls.
And we wanted to talk a little bit about something. What were we going to talk about?
Worrying.
Oh. We want to talk about worrying. What are we going to say about it?
Well, we're concerned about it because...
We're worried about worrying. No, it is a problem because people use that as, I worry about you because I love you.
Yes.
And that phrase makes me want to smack my head off a wall.
Why? Why would that make you want to, like, that doesn't mean love to you, Nichole?
Because, okay, so when you say, I worry about you because I love you, why not just think good, positive thoughts for me? Like, why not just put good juju out into the out into the universe and send good, positive thoughts my way? I think worrying is a big waste of time, first of all. It doesn't do anything for anybody other than make everybody miserable. It causes tension. It causes unnecessary fears. Like, anytime growing up when we went to the city, it was a big deal. Like, it was a place you should be absolutely terrified of because everybody will mug you and steal your purse. You know, that's what in my head.
You got to wear the fanny pack.
You have to wear the fanny pack.
Protect it, yeah.
Yeah, so a couple years ago, I went, just me and one of my girlfriends, to New York City in kind of like maybe a little bit of a questionable part of town. I didn't tell anybody that it was a little bit of a questionable part of town, to a concert.
But did you have a fanny pack? Everybody wants to know.
No.
Oh.
Missed opportunity.
Missed opportunity.
But so we went to this concert and it was absolutely fine. We met great people who were like lovely, willing to show us some places that they'd recommend. Like, it was a great time. We hit no traffic. We came in on a Friday at 5 o'clock in New York City and made it to our hotel only like having to stop at stop signs or stoplights. Like, I just think that the world is what you create it to be. And so when you're putting all that worry out, like, it doesn't help anybody. So when people say, I worry about you because I love you, like, that for me is just frustrating.
Right, because if you think about that from a law of attraction perspective, that thoughts create things, that basically what you're doing is you are creating shitty energy for that very person that you care about, because you're creating those very things that you're worried about. And so it's so much better to focus on what you want for that person and to send them good energy.
Well, and I think even just with that New York City example, like, there are shitty people in the world. There's shitty things, there are awful things that happen every day, but on the total opposite end of the spectrum, there are incredible people and incredible things happening every day. And there's just as many crappy people here in Elmira that there is in New York City. You know what I mean? And there are just as many awesome people here in Elmira that there are in New York City. And so when you're thinking of worry, you're only considering one possibility for that person. You know what I mean? You're just saying, this is your, I love you, so I want, I'm just going to think about everything bad happening to you.
Right.
Why does that make any sense?
Coming from somebody who, though, is like a reformed warrior, so I've worked on it a lot. I am in recovery. I was that person that would be like, out walking or something, and I remember one time being distracted and then coming back to my thoughts and thinking, okay, what was I just worrying about? And it was just so ridiculous, that I had to get right back into that way of thinking. And
it's weirdly comfortable.
Yeah, because we're taught that, right? Like, you're taught, like, that very same concept that this is how you love people.
Yeah.
That we need to worry about them.
Yeah, and there's reward, there's reward to worry. Like, that's, being extra cautious and being extra safe. Like, my kids are fearless, like, in almost terrifying ways, but I try to let them be fearless for the most part and just learn on their own in some ways. But, my daughter climbs to the top of there's this, like, dinosaur at the park, and it's, like, made out of metal. And it's tall. Like, I wouldn't climb it, to be honest. And she'll be sitting up there on top of it. Look at me, Mom. I'm on a dinosaur. And I'm, like, holding my breath because all I can think is she's going to fall off and break all of her bones. And I'm like, no, she's going to be fine. She's good. She every time, she's fine. She's up, she's down. She loves it. Like, she has the most fun if I can get my shit together enough to let her be happy and let her enjoy life. And I think that's the key. If you're a worrier, or if you have just that, if you've been taught that that's how you love people, is you worry about them, you have to think of like, how do I love people by letting them be happy?
Absolutely. And how do I work on releasing those thoughts? Because it is something that you have to work on. It isn't something that usually just goes away overnight. Because like if we could just quit worrying, like we would, right? And so it's something like acknowledging that thought of, oh, here I go, worrying again. So it's like being conscious of that and then choosing to change the thought. Okay, so I'm worrying about this situation, but what is the result that I want instead of the result that I don't want? And then putting your thoughts and your energy into that.
Yeah, and even just that awareness process is key. I always say to people like, you can't get the toilet paper off your shoe if you don't know if it's there in the first place. So you have to just even have that kind of mindfulness. And if you're 20 minutes into your worry, like that's fine. If you stop at 20 minutes in, it's better than 30 minutes in. And so it's just about learning that, because actually I'm working on a book, and in one of the parts of the book I talk about how our brain is cybernetic, which means it is built to self-regulate, which means like a thermostat, if we're at 70 degrees and someone leaves the door open and, you know, cold air is blowing in, like the thermostat will hijack and try to kick up the gears to get it back to normal. And so we're kind of fighting with a brain that's built for survival and built for similarity, and we're trying to make changes through it. So it does take awareness, and it does take intention and repetition. I even like cancel, clear, delete. I like that one.
Yeah. So to just say that out loud.
Cancel, clear, delete.
When you catch yourself having those thoughts. And the cool thing is, and this is one of the many things that I love about the angels, but the angels are constantly working at blocking all of these shitty thoughts that we're putting out there. But they can't do it all, you know?
There's a lot of shitty thoughts.
There's a lot of shitty thoughts, and there's a lot of angels, but there's more shitty thoughts, I think. Yeah.
Well, and again, like you said, like we're in a, I mean, even if you turn on the TV, it's just bad news. On Facebook, gosh, someone was posting like an abused animal thing the other day, and I'm just like, this is doing nothing for anybody other than making people worry about abused animals. Like, obviously we know that those things exist, but when they're not directly in front of them in us in a place that we can take action on them, it just eats away at you. Like, there's just a difference between worry and taking action. Yeah.
And I think that when you can slowly pull away from that and you can start to adjust yourself and adjust your thoughts, you adjust your energy field. And so you allow more light in for yourself, and as you allow more light, it pulls more light, and you just begin to a little bit more easily and effortlessly feel more positive and hopeful and less connected to that fear energy.
Yeah, and honestly, if you're going to be afraid of anything, be afraid of the law of attraction, that you don't want that to happen to them. You know, like, believe enough in the universal law that, like, you're going to put some good stuff out there for them. You're going to pray for them. You're going to, you know, set some good intentions for them, because that's really, really powerful stuff. When you start believing in the good in people, when you start to see the best in somebody, or see that they'll get out of a situation that you, like, hope they'll get out of, or whatever the case is, like, that can change people. Energy changes people. When you're sending the good stuff, it really makes an impact. So
it's the best thing you can do. It's the absolute best thing you can do. When Nichole and I were still working at the counseling agency, we actually played around with that, and we had a couple of people come in, and when we didn't know what to do with them, when we didn't know how to help them, we just imagined surrounding them in light. So we didn't like buy into all of the worry and all of that stuff. Instead, we just surrounded them in light and clear their energy, kind of like wrap them in that protective bubble of that light. And we both had the experience of people coming back to thank us. Yeah. They didn't know what happened. They didn't know what we did.
No, they came back and
they paid for a session.
For a session just to say thank you. And this happened several times with just sending light. So if you have nothing else, don't worry, just send light. Just send good intentions. Send light, send love. Because love is love. Love is joy. Joy and love are so close together. So if you can think, what would make this person happy? Because that would make me happy. What would be the best case scenario for this person? Because that would make me happy. And I think people are like, well, you can't deny and be not cautious about the world. But, like, your intuition knows when you need to be cautious and when you don't. Yeah. It's that subtle. And, you know, intuition, even when it's telling you something's wrong, intuition is calm. That's the difference between fear and intuition. That's a good point. Intuition, when it's telling you something's off, you just know it. Like, you just have that feeling. It is not exacerbated. It is not fear. It's not panic. That's your ego. But intuition, just centered and calm. So even if you're getting fear and panic, you know it's not from the other side.
Absolutely.
So for more on intuition, make sure to like and subscribe to our videos. Christy and I are going to be putting these particular videos out every week. She does an energy report once a week, and I do kind of a little just tip for better living once a week. So our YouTube channel is about to get real.
Oh, it's already real. So make sure you subscribe.
And if you want to book a session with us, www.discoveryourawakening.com. Thanks for watching,
guys.